Captain Ivan Andreyevich Fleurov led the first battery of Katyushas in Soviet history during the Great Patriotic War. In mid-1941, he prevented the Germans from making a quick breakthrough near Orsha, and in the fall of the same year blew himself up along with the installations when he was surrounded. Immediately after the outbreak of war, the captain was ordered to operate experimental M13 guns, which would later be called Katyushas. He was assigned a battery of 8 combat vehicles, 44 trucks, and was also given 1 howitzer, which was to be a target gun. The rocket launchers moved to Orsha. On July 6, Fleurov with the battery arrived at the front, where he immediately began to master the new equipment. Germans were moving forward, and the captain had to withdraw. His battery miraculously managed to move back. On July 14, the captain was able to take full advantage of the Katyusha firepower for the first time. There are 2 versions of how the first battle took place. According to the first, at once 7 installations hit Orsha, where at that time there were many German soldiers and equipment. In just 8 seconds they managed to fire more than 90 rockets, most of which hit exactly the target. The Germans were stunned and did not expect such an attack. Many soldiers were killed and the equipment was put out of action, according to historian Bakarova. After reloading, another volley was fired at the crossing. Because of this, the enemy was stuck and could not advance further. First, Ivan Andreyevich's battery struck the town of Rudnya. There in the central square there were many German troops, all the living force was destroyed, and the Soviet equipment moved to strike Orsha. At that moment there were Soviet troops in the city, so the captain could not destroy the Germans there on July 14, they simply were not there. They entered Orsha only on July 16. According to this version, Fleurov was ordered to blow up his trains with fuel and the station, so that it did not get to the enemy. Historian Andrei Sapronov believes, the captain really destroyed almost all Soviet echelons. The goal was achieved, the fuel tanks caught fire and did not reach the enemy. After that Fleurov and his battery hit the central station in Orsha and completely destroyed the entire infrastructure. Ivan Andreyevich's battery was ambushed on October 6. Together with his platoon Fleurov got into the Vyazemsky cauldron. Near the village of Bogatyry they tried to break through and go to the main forces, but there was practically no chance of rescue. The future hero understood this and gave the order to fight to the last. When the Germans had already come close to the battery of Katyusha, the captain was wounded, and some of his subordinates had already died in the battle. Then Fleurov decided to blow up all the equipment together with himself to prevent the enemy from capturing it. Historian Afanasiev wrote in his book, "The captain died instantly, most of his fellow soldiers also failed to get out alive. Only 46 out of 200 men managed to escape." They told about Ivan Andreyevich's feat later. Local residents found a shrapnel from the Katyusha, which was stuck in a tree. It was cut down and together with a part of the blown-up war machine was moved to the Victory Museum, where the exhibit is to this day. Not many people knew about Ivan Fleurov's heroic deed at first. In 1960 the captain was not given the title of Hero of the USSR posthumously. After a lot of bureaucratic procedures the officer received only the Order of the First Degree. Local residents recall that the burial site was always clean and well maintained. People came there, cleaned the graves of fallen soldiers. Sometimes co-workers came. There were small ceremonies in memory of heroes. In 1995, some of the documents were declassified, and people learned about another worthy man who fought during the Great Patriotic War. The commander of the Katyusha platoon received the Gold Star of Hero posthumously.